Welcome to the first full speed session after Lucid, I believe.
Except we'll take the French though. Lieutenant Nation, French menu.
Yes, French notes.
French notes? No.
Yeah. You don't have the French version? Get somebody else. I can take notes.
Right, so again, as people settle in, welcome to the first full speed session after like 2 years after Lucid. So in Comic and Lucid, we actually went through quite some effort to getting the magical 10-second boot. And you might remember like 10-second boot on the Dell Mini 10 reference machine. So let that one around, and as you can see in Lucid, we got quite close. So that was like a 12-second boot with actually having like some second of spare time in between. So that actually felt quite fast. And that was like not with GNOME, but with the network launcher back then. But so what was the predecessor really? But since nobody really had time to care about it, like in Oneric, it looked more like this, which is of course quite a regression. So this is 23 seconds, and before we had 12.
Wow.
Actually, at the Oneric data, I wanted at 37. So we actually shaved off like 14 seconds in the last couple of weeks to kill the worst offenders, but of course it's still not ideal. And so we see that we didn't actually regress a lot in like boot dependency thingies, so the CPU is still pretty much busy all the time. So there is not a lot we can win by just shuffling things around. They are pretty much already in the perfect order, so the only thing we can still do is do less. Even if we look at the task machine, so this is now for my own laptop, quad-core X201, there we see that we still do have some potential for some optimizations there. So there are still a couple of times when like most of the CPUs are pretty bored. But even this on a really fast machine, I got like 15 seconds boot, so this is probably not the ideal case. So for the purpose of the session, I want to limit the scope of discussion to the desktop part. So I don't want to discuss the plumbing bits and kernel bits and so on. So what I prepared for this was to have two charts side by side. So here you can see on the Dell Mini 10 the comparison between Lucid, what we had on Lucid on the left part here, and on Oneric, which is on the right part here. So we can use this as a comparison chart where stuff regressed and then we need to put work into it. And I also have a second chart which compares on Oneric the difference between like the Mini 10 on the right hand side and my X201 on the left hand side, which is nice to see what part of the performance problems are actually attributed to having a slow CPU. Music box, start with. And which of the problems can be attributed to stuff? Like which of the problems can be attributed just to stuff which is needlessly waiting on each other and which is not locked on having CPU. So I guess this is actually the more useful thing. So maybe you can do start the discussion here to identify some obvious regressions. So one thing that is good, we see that Xorg, like the time it takes to initialize Xorg, hasn't actually regressed at all. So well done, Xorg team. What, really? Between Lucid and...
No, we did change conversion between Lucid and...
We did.
Yeah, we also got like the internal drivers. Right, so GNOME session, etc., like the early initialization bits, they really didn't change at all. Oh, by the way, if you put these side by side, this was like I copied different parts of the boot sheet chart together, so maybe I forgot one or two of the really uninteresting bars with no CPU power. So if you just notice that there's something missing to the right or the left, then it doesn't contribute to boot speed problems here at all. So of course, we see that like the old network manager and the old network launcher, and between the new Compass, there's quite some regression there. Oh, all these charts are without opening the dash, by the way. like if you open the dash immediately after the desktop start, it gets even worse. So I haven't even started to look at this yet. So I guess the first workaround for which is like in the X then would be to just give this some love and see why it's taking so much CPU power here. I figure lots of it might actually be related to like loading millions of icons and decoding SVG to PNG and whatnot, but this is just purely suspicion. So maybe, yeah.
At what point do you get to the session manager like LTM?
Oh, this is after LightEM. So this is
all after LightEM.
This is just desktop session. So basically, when this is auto login, by the way.
With auto login.
This is auto login. So basically, this is when Xlog starts and LightEM, or in this case TDM, starts Xlog and right into the user session. So it's no login manager here.
I mean, if you don't have auto login, then it seems like you get to take a long time to get to LightEM, and then once you're it.
Yes, but
once
this
you
is
log in, it's
right. This is not here. So for example, on this chart, this is on my personal computer. These are the 3 seconds it takes for Unity Greeter to come up and type in my password. And like this is just the best stuff, but none of this applies on this chart. So this is really just the dump machine standard install with auto login and just the default setup. Right, so I cannot actually talk about this part much.
So we'll do a little bit with the GCTX backend, because right now what Compiz is doing is going to all the gconf keys and check if it's the default or not for the plugin. So it just reads something like 900 keys, gconf keys, and just try to see what changed and then send signal to the plugins. So GCTX will ring a little bit on that. Then it will still open all the plugins.
But wouldn't we need like the gconf reading for migrations? At least until last.
Just how, well, Compiz needs to know which settings you change. And basically it's doing that with reading every keys and compared to what is supposed to be the default. That's how the Compiz backend is working.
Wow, that sounds like exceptionally heavy. Right?
It is.
I mean, isn't the default what is set in the system schema? So
yeah, but well, gconf is even worse because gconf is copying keys, so it doesn't know at all if it's a default or not. But I think it's in the ini backend that it makes this diff. Basically, it should only have a way, to only retrieve options that have changed. And not all the options. But I don't know, I'm not sure that Sam will have the time to work on that this cycle, to be honest.
yeah, okay. So
at least we'll have GSettings. So we know a little bit, and then for boot speed, I think it's more how Compiz is handling plugins and try to minimize the first initialization.
Would there be something to be gained from building in some of the plugins that we pretty much always want, or is that even possible?
That will be against upstream will, but yeah, we can. As they see, they see Compiz as a plugin manager.
And also, like if you consider Unity, it's really this one, like Compass plus Unity panel servers here. So
I was going to say,
all of this was previously
Unity.
Is that big blue block in Compass really loading plugins? Is it really loading plugins out?
I don't know.
Later
I
on,
looked at Compass at all.
is that actually Unity?
It's Unity mostly.
Yeah. Well, Compass is probably like the Compassy parts are in this section.
The window decorator starts really late as well. So maybe it is plugin loading.
Yeah, I figured.
That's pretty horrific.
Well, plugin loading is maybe also graphics. So, for example, if you look at Nautilus here, that's really a ridiculous regression. So, like back then in Lucid, it used to take almost no time, and now it takes a lot. And we used to have a bug in pre-Lyric where it loaded a couple of icons which took like full-size background image and scaled it down to like 10 different sizes. But I believe we already fixed it, but apparently we didn't fix it hard enough. So it still seems to take an awful lot of time to load icons and background images, especially because I think it's GNOME settings daemon now which is loading the background image, right?
No,
it's still not used.
Because GNOME settings daemon partially is probing stuff, so the bit here is our plugins, I think.
So I mean, that bit for you is much longer than it is on my machine. I don't know what's causing that.
That's a slow machine which exaggerates things that are
Yeah.
consuming huge amounts of CPU will always show up much bigger.
Yeah, we are deliberately using the Mini 10 here because it's like an abacus. So you
but these are both the same machine, yeah?
These are the Mini 10.
So I'm confused because we stripped all the really dumb stuff that no settings daemon was doing at the start.
Yeah,
we stripped it out right at the end of an Eric.
You should
and it really isn't doing that much now. I'm just wondering why it's regressed so badly.
Well, you should have seen it in beta when you still did the crazy programming. But
it really isn't doing that much now.
Yeah, so basically, I think the part of the exercises here, we have like 5, 6 obvious regressions here, and we basically need to find some owners for these so that we can investigate all of these individually.
So we can take the Unity panel service startup as when Unity is starting to be loaded, because in the code it's one of the first things Unity is doing. So when you load the Unity shell plugin, it immediately starts Unity panel service.
Well, it wouldn't really help because...
So I just mean that what you will see is that before in the compis is the other plugin, and then it's the Unity shell plugin which is the last one to load.
Yeah, but as I said, we don't have an ordering problem. The CPU is full all the time. So shuffling things around...
No, but I just mean that we can know where the Unity shell plugin is actually loading from your chart.
Okay.
You can take that it's approximately the same time.
Well, I guess at some point, like if you want to drill down into individual programs, pretty much the only thing you can do is to annotate your program, to mark like milestones, and then...
There was work item last cycle for Sam.
Yeah. Well, there's quite a nice standard technique which like Federico from GNOME is using to just add some kind of macro to your code where you say this is milestone 1, 2, 3. Which is just doing a fake stat call, which strace catches up, and with strace-ttt you get a very high resolution with almost no overhead, so you can do nice graphs with these.
Martin, I want to have a look if you use your Unity 2D.
Unity 2D
is lightning quick, yeah.
It's
like 2 seconds on my machine.
It is. So there's no reason that like the Nautilus things shouldn't... Like
Nautilus still takes stuff.
Should be the same on 2D and 3D.
Okay, I mean there's a significant difference between 2D and 3D on my machine.
For compis, but like still Nautilus should be using the same.
I didn't do a 2D chart, so I wanted to do that, but I didn't.
Didn't we work out at one point that Compis was doing an awful lot of effort with restacking windows over and over and over in response to X events on startup? So if you switch... It's done now. That's gone now?
Yeah.
Well, that used to be no panel though.
That used to be good now? Okay,
right.
Yeah. I was just wondering if settings daemon, because settings daemon responds to it, there's a fair number of X events that settings daemon does something with. If something was triggering a bunch of, if Compis was triggering a bunch of X events, then that could explain why settings daemon is much more prominent, because it'd be woken up a lot more.
Yeah, but I mean the big blue thing that you see here, this is pretty much plug-in loading, because only after it's done with this, it starts. It then starts the real
Why is that so much worse than it used to be? I'm just wondering why that's so much worse than it used to be. Bearing in mind nothing has really changed that much.
Yeah, so again,
the really bad stuff that had regressed with.
So again, I mean, we need owners for all the individual bits. So, like, are you actually interested in like continuing to look into settings daemon?
I need hardware that has a problem though, because I mean, on here it's like that.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Well, I'm sure we can give you we can get you like a Mini 10 or other slow box. So. I think you can even do it in a VM or so. Expose these. Although it doesn't have the X-render program.
Martin? So on the pad I added the URL to the Boost P charts for the QA ones.
Thanks. Oh, by the way, there's also, this wiki page I did for Lyric, which has links to all the individual boot speed charts on the Mini 10 for Lucid, Maverick, on Lyric Beta 1 and Lyric, and then some comparison and some initial analysis we did here. But it's basically all the stuff that we knew about, we already fixed in the Lyric, so the remaining ones are the stuff which we need to. Oopsie.
Why are we focusing on Xorg?
Xorg? Xorg is not a problem.
Oh.
We're focusing on the things that start once XORG has started.
So it was 1.5 seconds back then, and still.
No, I meant why are we leaving out rescue boot? Has that been the same?
Say again.
Why are we leaving out the boot until the XORG process starts?
No, because it's a desktop session. Well, first this, and second, nobody here knows to fix the kernel, and third, we need to separate it to some way. Because even looking at this part is both the worst regression. Plumbing only regressed by a second or so.
Okay.
And second, there's already way too much to do here, so I didn't want to broaden the scope even more.
Alright, so will there be any discussion on using the new version of boot chart, or how we're going to do it during precise or anything else, or is it just assumed we're sticking with what we got and we're just going to continue to do it?
Well, as for the measuring, I mean, boot chart works pretty nice, and a lot of the improvements that boot chart 2 got are actually already kind of fixed in our boot chart 1, like using type boot chart instead of the Java thing. And I don't actually think we have a measuring problem. We know exactly where our problems are. So, I mean, maybe there's the boot chart 2 or some other tool that can get some better reports, but QA already has them set up, and we have baby sets now, and I think we just need to fix the damn thing and measure them even more accurately now. That's my take anyway.
Okay.
Right, so Chris, would you like to own the settings team in one?
Yeah.
Okay. You know that?
Yeah, it's not
So,
I don't mind having a look at other things as well, like compis.
Yeah, for example. Ooh, you really? Okay. Well, he said that, note it down.
Whether we can do anything with it or not, I don't know.
Yeah. Also, one rather interesting point is that, Deepest Demon, it didn't. Oh, sorry, wrong chart. Deepest Demon didn't appear here at all. This is actually one of the things I forgot to cut because there was no.
I guess
at all.
That basically we spam the session bus constantly all the time.
It's just because we have now just about 2 million indicator something processes which are
which haven't started yet actually.
So basically it's like death by community. All the indicators are even starting here. So
because Unity Pi service is loading all the indicators.
Yeah, right.
It'll be interesting to see what
something's even very chatty even before. So I'm happy to look into Nautilus unless you want to. But
I can have a look, but if you want to.
Yeah, we can sign me up for this because that also is 2 or 3 seconds regression. It's rather ridiculous, and I guess we're doing something probably wrong there.
Yeah, can I sign you up for the copies settings part?
Yeah.
Or looking at getting the new version.
And then further down it's just noise, so there's not a lot of interesting stuff.
Why do you have a GNU for that? Do you know what this process is?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the mount dialog.
Disk mounting.
Oh, okay.
Disk mounting? Sorry?
Yeah. So if you run GNOME session, the disk mounting dialog is a shell modal dialog. If you're not running that, you get the fallback dialog.
It's GNOME fallback dismounting something. It's in GSD now. It's auto-mounting for this.
What? Sorry.
When you plug in a USB stick, that dialog that pops up is that GNOME fallback.
Yeah. Which dialog pops up? Sorry.
You don't.
So anything running Nautilus or asking the
this one. Why is that running all the time? I thought Nautilus would just pop that up on.
And also you don't anymore.
Settings team and everything.
No, we start this process which is watching for events and doing the action.
Oh, I thought that was the settings team reporting these days.
No, it used to be, but they moved to GNOME shell. It's in the shell now, so that moved
I see. Okay.
Another process for.
Yeah, but anyway, I mean, it's not having a huge impact here. But
do you need GNOME speed server?
Yeah, so I thought we delayed that. We delayed it. I'm just wondering actually whether it's getting deepest activated now.
Yeah, so it has a service file. So this was using the X session
and it's still
startup delay.
But it's also got a service file as well.
I think it seems that actually went wrong. So maybe we dropped the startup delay from the auto start file, so maybe we can put that back.
Do you want to look at it? Or?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, and what about the mission controller? Is that being used for the telepathy indicator or
the missing what?
The mission control?
I think it scans. It's most likely the telepathy approval, I guess.
What?
It's your telepathy, Can we delay this?
I think we do delay it.
The delay is still in the screensaver, by the way. It's getting deepest activated. before the session manager starts it.
Well, it seems like either accomplish or GNOME settings daemon pumps it somehow.
Complis doesn't know about it. So.
Okay.
So mission control? Ah, okay.
No.
Well, this starts earlier than telepathy indicator.
Auto start delay is 5.
Yeah, but it's getting started quicker than 5.
No, okay.
Did you want to know that, or I can look at that?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Actually, unless it might not be a telepathy indicator. I wonder if indicator messages is somehow causing it to start. I mean,
no, but the indicator messages starts here.
So like further on the
it's further down.
Yeah. You see, indicator messages starts here, and the
when that code was indicator
mission
me, it
control
was
is here.
careful not to start it, but in the rewrite I was in the something's not happening with the auto.
So there's nothing else which starts about that time except the telepathy indicator itself, but that seems to start a tad later in the...
Yep. It's a 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not enough. Maybe you should like put 10.
So it's not entirely clear to me whether this delay here is just because of GNOME settings daemon being slow loading its plugins, or whether it's like background noise going in.
Well,
but we could probably check on the fast box here. So like this should have like no blocking from the CPU, so we actually see it's not actually taking a lot of time. So all the other bits are started reasonably fast.
I wonder how much of that is due to the check GL texture size thing.
Yeah, that's certainly
because that is in the critical path on starter.
Yeah,
it's tiny though.
Yeah, but it's not.
It's about half a second.
But
and initializing it as well.
Is that going to be fixed this cycle in Complex?
Yes,
yeah,
it is.
Who's doing that?
DX somewhere.
Do they know they're doing it?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
you have something written down?
Maybe not. Not something written down. We need to ensure that they do it.
Open budget.
Or at least a lock item. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So this was just a workaround for...
Just a workaround for an Eric, so that it didn't blow up so much. Because the correct fix is for comp is to not blow up.
Yeah.
Rather than for us to prevent the user from entering a state where compers will blow up.
What are you doing already? You are fallbacking to something?
We're disallowing any mode change. So if you try and set too big a multi-screen setup, it will say, sorry, can't do that. Try again in Unity 2D. That will work.
Right, so...
Like DM has already loaded the GL for us, but it does
I already loaded
initialization.
before, even with the Unity support test tool.
Yeah.
This also in the light DM.
So
already loaded that.
The GL and the stuff will be in cache, but there's
right.
still a certain amount of initialization. It took on the order of 200 milliseconds to do that on my system to do that. Node settings didn't regressed by 200 milliseconds on my system.
Yeah, but like on a computer like this, it will probably be more like a second or something.
I was using a net so on my netbook, it regressed by 200 milliseconds.
That's an add-on?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's not too bad. So one thing I wonder about...
It's not doing as good a job as it had in the past, based on the chart on the website.
So one thing we were looking into Lucid is to reduce the startup dependencies that we had. So for example, GNOME session has these 3 phases, I think. So like initialization and then something else and then applications, and we try to basically reduce that to 2 or making more stuff start in parallel. And I think this also has regressed quite a bit. So
I removed some parts. It was post-Lucid because we had regressions. I remember there was something noisy and it didn't really work because we were setting the 2 at the same time.
But I don't think it's a very bad regression. So we see like GNOME session starts here and it pretty much immediately starts settings daemon already. So it seems like the main blocker that we have is settings daemon is loading all or many plugins before all it starts all the rest, and that maybe we can look into which plugins we really need to block on. So I guess like stuff like Xrender is something you need to block on.
But the actual plugin, yes, the actual plugin loading is quite a small amount of time. I don't think that.
I think it's really this one. Plugin loading is like you need to load libraries and to link them.
But that hasn't changed since Lucid. I think there might only be like 1 or 2 extra plugins.
Well,
and all the heavy stuff is deferred until after everything else is already starting as well.
Right, but I mean, look, like in Lucid, it was like about a second until other stuff started, and now it's 2.5. So, let's see.
No, you are not looking to the right one. No, this is a Fastbox. To the right.
Sorry. Yeah. No, it was not.
That one as well.
How can I?
No, this is because you have copies of this one as well. So it's not.
So this is Mini 10 versus.
But
so where are the 2 Mini 10s? I think I lost the tab here. No.
Martin, do we have the same regulation as non-Intel video cards, like with discrete cards? The same regulation between Lucid and
yeah. Well, this is all on Intel, but as I said, like this chart is all this. It's the very same platform. Like the Dell Mini 10, the very same.
No, I mean if you take the same platform, but with AMD or NVIDIA graphics, would you see the same relation between them, between Lucid and an 8, or
well,
it will be different results?
The structural regressions, like starting up more stuff and like Compass doing more stuff, is certainly the same. Like this is CPU, this is like mostly computation. So. There could of course, there could be something on NVIDIA which speeds up or slows down stuff. I don't know. I don't have NVIDIA hardware to measure. So
this is not an issue. It's not. It cannot be.
Oh, I'm not saying it's not an issue. It's just something which I have.
No, I mean it's we put aside the kernel issue between the drivers. Like let's say driver doing something, it's too long doing nothing or waiting for something. Who knows?
For example,
computers are so slow.
For example,
you say it's not the case.
Well, we did have an issue where on NVIDIA the Xrender programming took like an absurd amount of time, like on all what's this ATI, like FGLRX, I can't remember. So, but one of the proprietary drivers, like settings daemon, took like 20 seconds or so because it broke the Xrender bits 5 times. So that can for sure make a difference. It's just hard to compare the charts because then you usually have 2 different systems.
No, I mean on the same system, one is Lucid, one is an 8. On the same system, but different system, not this one.
Yeah, so if anyone has charts on NVIDIA, then yeah, please put them somewhere or add them to the wiki page. I just don't have them. So. No. Oh, okay. Well, does it seem to be a comparison between NetI and NVIDIA and Intel? Or maybe I'm missing something. But yeah.
What can be interesting as well is to compare, the classic session and the Unity one, so that we can have compis on both sides and see which part is really depending on the Unity shell plugin and which part is really depending on compis only.
But fallback is using Metacity, right?
No, you have also the classic session, which is not the fallback, which runs compis plus main panel.
Oh, how do you run this these days?
We have it.
Okay.
That's classic and classic fallback.
Ah,
Classic
okay.
and classic no effect.
Yeah, I mean that might show like which of the bits are like
Yeah.
Compass plugins indeed. Right?
It's something else you can see on this is like notify USD is loading. That's the same stuff.
Oh yeah, I thought we actually got rid of this in Lucid.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did. And it took us quite some effort to do so.
And it's back.
Yeah, so you can sign me up for this. So something is trying to send notifications right after login, which seems a bit pointless. Trying to see what it aligns to, settings daemon. There's not a lot of stuff running at this early time. Like.
No, but the settings daemon has like the power plugin and that.
I think back then, so you already trigger the daemon if you initialize notification. And I thought back then I fixed the notify to do like a lazy
Okay.
Initialization, so it actually would start up only if you send the first notification. I wonder if that's been lost, although I got it upstream. So maybe something actually tries to send a notification and then fails, or yeah. You can,
Ja, auf den Tendern versus.
okay. So that's certainly something we should take out, because it also triggers like icon loads and right. So BAM seems to behave reasonably.
You could probably delay the Bluetooth applet. It's quite like seems to.
It just looks a little weird, like if it some point pops up because it rearranges your panel again. But
At least he could be back at what it was before. It's like another double time now.
Bluetooth applet. Well, it's using a little more CPU, yeah. So maybe we use different icons now. I think our icons are all SVG, right?
Yeah, not Windows.
At least an applet doesn't have to doesn't seem to have regressed a lot, so that's fine on the positive side. Yeah, so I guess the main offenders here are like Compass, Unity Panel, Nautilus, and settings daemon. So I guess if we can fix those, like make those a little better, then. So this probably won't get us back to 12 seconds. So I don't think we can magically fix Compass to just do less.
So we can statically link some plugins.
Yeah, so I'd really like to investigate this.
That will be some effort, knowing the code base. So
pretty similar to what we did with the kernel in Karmic. I think we built in most of the modules there, so it gave us quite a tremendous change.
you can even imagine having, two options like the Unity experience with all the Unity plugins, which is something like 15 statically linked, and another binary for the non-default for session.
It's also interesting. Yeah. So would that alleviate upstream's concern about that it's not fully configurable anymore?
No, it's because Compiz is not a window manager. Compiz is a plugin system which accidentally has a plugin which do window management. That's how Upstream describe Compiz.
Right, but so we could
So
have
that's
like
why they don't really like this idea.
So could we have like a Compass Unity statically built?
Yeah.
So, but it is possible to statically build any plugins.
It will be hard, but if you really want, I guess it's the only way to
Why is it
link
hard?
it.
No, I mean,
only like big system changes.
So I mean, this is supported in the sense of, yes, by some infinite amount of work we can make it work, or does it actually allow it to do it in like as a configure option or something?
As a configuration.
I mean, has Upstream some support for building in plugins, or is it something which we need to invent?
Well, it's something we need to do ourselves.
Okay, because then it seems highly non-trivial. Just like it is.
I can sign up for this, at least having a look, we can do that.
Then if it's too costly. I mean, pretty much all of this is like non-really critical. It would really be nice to get a little back to what we have. What is Unity 2D? Yeah? It's really fast. And I guess like on ARM hardware, probably we are shooting for 2D anyway, I guess.
And anyway, there is a detection tool before.
And we have a shell script here. Oops.
Yeah,
Oh, this is the startup sound, which reminds me.
Yeah, can we keep
I think we need to kill this really early, otherwise we forget again. And then
That's easy, just drop it from GNOME section with the camera. With the GNOME section cameras, the package just got the desktop file. It's like.
I mean, it's not technically difficult. We just forgot it last cycle, and then it was like after beta 2, and we.
Wasn't an issue with Ubuntu people with this one?
No, so it was like the Centime and the CD.
It was only the Centime.
Okay. Canberra GTK play, so I guess.
Yeah.
Should we just like change the auto start? Not start by default?
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
Could do this.
It's kind of a bit weird. We're actually going to use a desktop file to play startups, and I think another part of the session would handle it in a more elegant way. That's one of the
XCG user gears give, what was the gear again? And where's my big terminal window? Just had a compass, here is it. Just had a compass crash before.
That never
when I plugged in the...
This It's
What am I
user.
looking for?
It's
Oh, user.
Yeah.
That's what localizes the.
Yeah.
Oh, GDK
Default
update,
XDD.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm actually wondering why this doesn't happen even earlier, because I would have expected this is like in the first thing you need to do before you actually start other processes.
What?
XDG user the GDK update?
It's a thing which is checking your local for a name like your picture.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, why is that actually happening so late? Shouldn't that be like the first thing you need to start? Because as soon as you start processes, they use the wrong environment variable, right?
It's run by yeah, but it's not touching the environment. It's like renaming the directories and this.
But I thought like you had XDG underscore.
Yeah, but that's nothing to do with this binary.
yeah.
This binary is like renaming or like pictures, video, images.
Yeah, you have
well, what's this user deals there? So yeah, so I thought these variables were exported into the session.
No, it's G, which is like accessing the file to get the configuration.
Yeah. There's another interesting thing. So Pulse Audio is already started relatively early, apparently from settings daemon. And then later on we try to start it again.
And okay, so the media keys.
Into X11. So it's a separate script that runs the X11 modules and you set them into Pulse Audio.
Right, I remember this, but so I think back then we already threw that out, so I remember that we had the same problem in Lucid, and we eliminated this one. Actually, we had like 5 startups of Pulse Audios, and only the first one survived. So we can probably easily get rid of this one again. You can sign me up for this, or just like assign it to me for right now.
The script is needed to, like, we use the X11 module, but the script's needed to determine whether we need it. We can't just let it false out.
No.
So.
I mean, the early Pulse Audio is, well, fine. I mean, it's okay. But we try to start Pulse Audio like 5 seconds after it's already running.
Right, but do you think that start-pulse audio-x11 is what the thing is here? Yeah. So it's actually not trying to start Pulse Audio again. It tries to load additional modules into Pulse Audio.
Oh, I thought this was would happen already in the X session.b script.
No, we got rid of the X session script. That was to work around another race that we had a while back.
Oh, I thought you still had that.
No.
Oh, okay. Nice. So why is it started so early then? It must be...
It's started by the media keys plugin. The volume.
Yeah, I guess it's the media keys.
It's the media keys plugin, yeah. Yeah, because it was actually started earlier, a few weeks before when Eric released, and then we moved it slightly.
Because it certainly seems like it's being started from settings daemon, because there's no one else.
Yeah.
I doubt that Compass is doing it.
Yeah, it's settings daemon. It is, definitely.
Would it be possible that this camera GDK play that starts Pulse Audio?
No, it's the media keys plugin in settings daemon.
This is here, Camera GDK play starts here, and Pulse Audio is already running at the time. It's not a lot, but it's a tad earlier, like 0.2 seconds or so.
It seems like quite a few applications have regressed just a little. Can we figure that it might be some problems with the lower layers of for example, if libc changes its memory allocation algorithm and things like that?
Well, usually most of the time it's just because the blue bars get a little more spread out, because we just have like twice the number of processes starting, and so they all just get fewer CPU slices. So I think it's mainly this.
Okay.
So like here we didn't have like lots of processes which we have right now. Oh, there's actually still some stuff going which I forgot to take out of the boot chart here, which is like not desktop. It's just part of the system level startup. GSD printer, yeah, probably another thing which you can easily postpone. SynDaemon is the touchpad disabling while you are not typing. Yeah, this might also be something which we could delay.
Why is that process external to GNOME settings daemon?
No idea.
Like the GSD mouse plugin does basically that. Why is there a second one? Okay.
I'm sure there's a reason for it.
Like, so SimDaemon is basically disable the mouse when you start typing.
Yeah.
GSD is running it, just like calling SimDaemon.
Yeah, and why doesn't the GSD, like, that's not an awful lot of code. Why isn't that folded into the mouse plugin in GSD?
I don't know.
Okay.
But nobody sent a patch, I guess.
Yeah, but anyway, so I guess this ties back into, do we really need to load all this crap and block everything else from starting while we are sorting out media keys, plugins and all that stuff? So I guess this block could easily move like here, and then you could also already start using a session. And it wouldn't block everything else. It would probably especially help like on machines like this. Well, okay, it doesn't matter so much here, it's a second, but still.
Is the left one being lucid in this image?
No, this is Oneric on my machine, and this is Lucid Oneric on the Mini 10. Well, this is slightly skewed because the first part here is Unity Reader, like typing my password. Well, this is auto login, so you should really look at it from this part on, like the big, the thicker gray line here is where it should really start. So here. So, and it seems we have a lot of, like we don't actually have a lot of waiting conditions here anymore, except for GNOME settings daemon.
Well, no, actually, it's, if you look, so the delay for GNOME settings daemon is you need to measure it to the starter compos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To here?
Yeah. So that's the actual delay.
So until here it loads
so it's like,
okay.
Yeah, half a second.
So, or here it's like 1.5 or...
It's worth a second, isn't it? Yeah.
So
it just yeah, okay.
Okay.
But it's half a second on your...
Do you have full shots on it?
Oh yeah. So this is Mini 10 on Lucid. Which shot do you want?
Mini 10 on Eric.
This is this one, yeah.
Can you scroll to the bottom?
Lots of probing stuff.
Yeah.
This is the bottom, but this is just kernel bits, which are largely irrelevant. But I mean, this is already what we've seen.
Oh, you just like copied like...
Yeah, I took the desktop charts out of it and aligned them. I just took out like all these bits, and there's a couple of gens in here, so we start Python and some Getty cron bits, which should really not be there. I guess it's some profile.d plugin to show you the mod D, which gets auto-generated from, I don't know. So this is what I meant with this. We also need to look into this, but it's not desktop part. And yeah. Oops. So what is this? Yeah, download. That's my computer. So there is still some waiting conditions here. Let's really draw down to this. Okay. Well, I guess that's basically. I think that's basically the scope what we can sign up to for Precise. So probably not re-engineering Compass and Unity panels again, but do you know we in Lucid also we used to have like daily Compass charts which would tell us exactly how much time every component needs.
Yeah, this has been removed
somewhere.
It's been removed with all that line. So it needs to be added.
So could we at least have some very coarse milestones there? So like start it up and loaded plugins.
Yeah,
and
I think I will have to do myself because last time DX signed up for this and they didn't do it. So please have your get informed.
Okay.
Maybe you should be doing like charts with activating plugin one by one, just to see which ones are like adding time to complete. Like doing
but you have dependencies on plugins.
Yeah, but maybe by group, just to see if you spot any, or maybe put marker for each plugin in the code and see what time is each plugin taking or something. Do you want to sign for it?
Is there any particular reason why we try to start non-killing even twice and then immediately aborts again?
Yes. I can't remember why though. There's several components of the keyring, and there's different phases of starting, and I can't remember what they are, but there is a reason for that.
Okay.
The keyring has more than one desktop file.
Oh, and all these are separate processes.
Minus components.
Why does it? So we actually start GNOME keyring daemon like tens of times. Why can't we start it with components equals SSH, comma PKCS11, comma something, instead of linking the thing like 10 times?
Because at the end it ends up in the same keyring.
Yeah, I guess so.
So just activate.
And components seems to indicate that you can actually load more than one at a time.
The thing is, the way it's working, it's looking for gsettings keys right now. So each desktop file has the gsettings condition, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, but we actually do seem to start quite some. No.
Well, the condition can be in non-keyring demo. Check those.
Not a single one, I think. So I think we start them all, which might explain why we started 4 times. So and they all come from the same package. So maybe you could just have like a GNOME keyring.desktop and then do it once instead of 4 times. Can we add a work item? Not necessarily me, but at least to note that down. I mean, even in Lucid it was like the 50 little things, and each of those things bought you like 0.3, 0.5 seconds. So there was not a single easy thing which we could do to save 5, because someone would have already done that. And even like the cost of linking a program and starting it.
Right, so this is great, but I wanted to ask if it's possible to also have boot charts for the other parts. So basically, when the session goes down, because it seems to have regressed a lot, closing your session seems to take a lot more time in Lyric than before. And I was wondering if you could provide that part to see what's holding up the session from going down quickly.
Is that really so bad? Yeah, I thought like mostly your machine is not able to shut down anymore with session stop. Okay.
Yeah.
While trying to think of a way how we can do. Is this on? No, of course it's not.
But there are a lot of complaints on forums about shutting down time. So
like just stopping the session?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, this was
for you. It's.
I think it's more shutdown time actually.
Yeah, I mean, shutting down your machine takes an awful long of time.
Shutting down the session.
It looks like the closing the session takes quite a while.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know, I just tried out with UnityD, so I'm not sure if it's a UnityD problem or the regular session has the same problem, but that would be interesting to figure out.
So there was something, so like if a program doesn't properly register to the session manager, then it times out like up to 10 seconds before it kills the processor.
For me, it's something like 30, 40 seconds just to log out.
The timeout is 10 seconds.
Yeah.
There's something else going on.
Because mine, like...
Good that you tell us now, because like now we released the thing. Yeah, it's usually, so I noticed that the machine fails to switch off for a long time, but
that seems to be like timing out, or I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, so this seems certainly something to look into, but it wasn't even on my radar, because I don't see that. Perhaps you could file a bug about this and attach X session errors after logging out, so that maybe there were some error messages there.
Can I write you down for opening a bug?
I've already opened the bug, but I have to find it again.
Okay. Alright. Bars. There's 4 bars for me. Okay, so 10 minutes to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think mostly done here, I guess. Huh? So keep us chatter all along.
You think we could move like all the GVFS backends to be started a bit later? Like it's
started by Nautilus.
Well, they started by
LFC one and.
Well, they don't actually do a lot. But of course, it's like a 0.1 second we could get if we want to look into this. So I think it's a higher amount of work for lower benefit. And I guess once we are back down to 12 seconds, we totally need to do this. But yes, so ideally they shouldn't start at all. They should start when you plug in a device which takes that kind of thing. But this would require re-engineering GVFS to some degree and making it a little less modular, which is really good.
Statically linking compis will be a little bit hard because we have 5 source packages which has modules that needs to be statically linked between themselves. And of course most of them are, you need to build that one before this one, but for building the third one you need the 2 other to be built. It will be interesting. For some kind of interesting.
Now I see why people complain about multi-monitor support. Like here, these little close buttons and this part here, which is, I don't know what.
Yeah, I don't know what that's for.
Oh, I think this is for my compass crash. It's just this is background images, you can clearly see. I just love boot charts as background image. Well, actually here it's fine. It's never mind, compass.
So we're getting rid of compass then, yeah?
Yeah, we could use like Mutter. Like Mutter without, like Mutter used to have no time at all. Everything you see here is network launchable.
We can as well use Kawin.
Yeah. So yeah, anything else that we need to talk about? Okay, then I guess like coffee break. Yeah?